Well, I'm not going today to just only present Egypt as an Egyptian biobanker and MASRI Biobank as being the executive director of it, but also being a member of the PCNet from 2016. Egypt, as most of the developing countries, has witnessed an exponential growth in the medical research. That driven the pressing to the need to the improving of the healthcare. So we have to. Recently, Egypt has made significant strides in the establishment and developing of Biobank. This was a result of a collaboration effort between the government, institutions, research organization, and the healthcare facilities. The Egyptian government has recognized that it is very important, the importance of the biobanking role in advancing the research, and of course, when we enter the era of the personalized medicine, so it provides all the supports for development of the infrastructure and the regulatory framework for the biobanking and for these facilities by establishing a number of biobanks across all of the country. Well, we were collaborating with the PCNet and the IARC, as I said, from almost 10 years. When this letter has been published, the first PCNet letter in 2016, there was around 3 biobanks already established in Egypt: the National Liver Institute, the National Cancer Institute, and of course the Children's Cancer Hospital 357, which is a pediatric biobank, and it was the first one initiated in 2014. And of course, we had a lot of collaborating work, especially in the capacity buildings of the Egyptian biobankers from that time up till now. By year 2016, we were just only 3 biobanks, the 3 I mentioned before. By the year 2017, the MASRI Biobank has joined, and the South of Egypt National Cancer Institute in Asyut. By year 2020, we became 7 biobanks. 2022, we became 10 biobanks, and this year we became 14 biobanks. As I mentioned, these are the 15 biobanks. Most of us are members in the PCNet, except maybe the ECRIM, which is the Egyptian Center of Research and Regenerative Medicine, ECRIM, which has recently joined the Egyptian Network for Biobanking. And it is the first fully automated biobank, not only in Egypt, but also in Africa and the Middle East. The advancement in biobanking in Egypt had a significant impact on the medical research and the development of personalized medicine healthcare solutions. This advancement has contributed to improving the healthcare outcomes and dressing up the public health challenges. One of these challenges is discovering the Egyptian genome. As you all know, in the Middle East, we have a number of evolving genome projects, not only in Egypt, but we have the Saudian genome project, the Qatarian, and the Emirates. And we have joined by the year 2021, when the ECRIM, which is the Egyptian Center of Research and Regenerative Medicine, had signed a collaboration between it and the Academy of Scientific Research and Technology under the supervision of the Ministry of Higher Education, Scientific Research, to be the center responsible for initiating the Human Genome Project. Last month in Nature Genetics, we have published the first paper talking about this project. We are going to the project is divided into 3 main pillars, which are the normal human individuals, the diseased individuals, and the ancient Egyptians. The normal population, we are going to see 1,000 samples of the human Egyptian genome, full human Egyptian genome, and we are going to also to do an 8,000 patients of the diseased to discover the diseased genome project, diseased genome samples. We are going to look to the monogenic diseases, the polygenic and the common diseases, of course, cancer and the infectious diseases. And of course, we are going to also have the ancient Egyptians from mummies. We are going to make about 100 samples to discover out our ancestry and from the museums, from the mummies kept in our museums. The Egyptian Genome Project the board of the directors have several committees. There are almost 4. We have the training committee, scientific committee, and the ethical and legal committee, and the social and communication committee. Of course, Akram Center is not the only authorized center for the sampling of the Egyptian patients. We have different nodes in the different hospitals all over Egypt, especially in that of the Faculty of Medicines in different all over Egypt, of course. Akram is consisting of different units. Of course, it has a biobanking for this project. We have a genomic sequence facilities. We have with the most recent infrastructure, and we are dealing with from the first generation of sequencers to the third generation sequencer. We are going to have the Oxford Nanopore maybe by next month. We have a bioinformatics and data analysis unit, which consists of number of the very brilliant bioinformaticians in Egypt. We have a data center and genomic database, and we are going to have variant curation and interpretation reporting for these results. And for that, we have a scientific committee has been established after the project has been released in 2021, having number of the famous Egyptians working on dealing with the genomics in research. We have, of course, Dr. Wagida Anwar, one of our professors working in this field for almost 30 to 35 years. And we have, of course, my dear friend, late Professor Samira Izzat, was also a member. A number of the bioinformaticians also are members in this board. Of course, with dealing with the biobanking and the research, the ethical consideration is one of the important things. So the biobanks has not only enhanced the country capacity for the medical research, but had also raised the importance for the ethical consideration that must be addressed to ensure the responsibility for the ethical use of the biological materials and data. For that, Egyptian had constructed a regulatory framework for the medical and the biobank ethics to play a role in ensuring the compliance and the protection of the patients and the research participation contribution in the biobanks. For this, of course, the ethics, we have now constructed an ethical board in the Ministry of Health. We have a board for the ethics, a general one, and we have the board. This board of ethics have different nodes in the Egyptian universities, of course. This was instructed maybe a long time ago, maybe 10 years the ethical committees were instructed, and this council has been constructed by 2020 in the Ministry of Health. They are dealing to ensure the ethical and respectful treatment of donor samples, to take care of the social and clinical value, scientific subject selection, the favorable risk-benefit ratio, the independent review, of course, the informed consent, and respect for the potential and enrollment of the subjects. So when we deal with research, we have to put the ethics, to think ethics, first of all. The ethics is the most important thing to deal with in the scientific research and, of course, in biobanking. There was a number of guidelines for the ethics. One has published, of course, by the IARC. There is for the American NCI. There is an international ethical guidelines of health-related research involving humans from the COMESA. We have the health research ethics from Japan. We have the guidelines for human biobanks, genetic research databases and associated data from Austria, and of course the recent European General Data Protection Regulation. Of course, the bioethics, the bioethics committees have played a central role in evaluating the ethical implication of medical research and biobanks. For this, the informed consent, of course, as I said before, it's considered as one of the pillars and one of the important things on biobanking, to include the confidentiality and the data security. And for this, of course, it is the cornerstone of ethics in the medical field and in biobanking practices. And for that, we have a number of challenges related to the socio-cultural perception and the infrastructure of biobanking that limits the working of biobanking. And to maintain the research integrity and to prevent the misconduct with the samples and the medical research, Egypt has figured out that we have to make the regulatory framework more concise. So the Egyptian Clinical Research Law was released by 2020. It was the first law to consider to unify the legal framework regulating the medical research. This law governs not only the conduct of the clinical trials, but also the dealing with the human subjects. The clinical research law outlines the requirements and the procedures for conducting clinical trials, including the ethical consideration and informed consent process. It also outlines the requirements for biological sample collection, processing, storage, and distribution for research projects. And the law discusses also the personal information confidentiality throughout the entire process. That's why protecting the data and the data privacy and ensuring the security are one of the most critical components of the ethical medicals and the biobank practices. That's why we have released the second law, which is the Egyptian Data Protection Law, also by 2020. This law prohibits the processing of personal data without the explicit consent of individuals and gives them multiple rights, such as restricting access to their data, reversing prior consent, and being informed in case of any data breach. The Egyptian protection law deals with two types of data. The personal data, which includes the data related to the person himself, either directly or indirectly, the name, voice, picture, identification number, etc. And the very sensitive data, which includes the psychological, mental, physical, genetic, financial data, religious, political beliefs, and data related to children. Well, this was the enhancement in the biobanking in Egypt and the regulatory framework. We have another pillar for this enhancement, which is the collection or collecting all of the biobankers in a network. So we constructed by 2020 the Egyptian Biobank network. We had several trials from 2017 till 2020, when we sat together and finalized that we nothing is going on without all our collaboration. Maybe in 2017, we were just the only 5 biobanks, but by the year 2020, we became 10 biobanks. So we realized that we have to cooperate together to get our work to be more professional. The Egyptian Biobank Alliance was initiated by my dear friend, the late Professor Samira Izzat, and of course, Dr. Wagida Anwar, a number of professors that were working in this field for maybe 10 to 20 years. The Egyptian Biobank network will offer several advantages, including increased sample size and diversity, harmonization of the activities, improved efficiency and cost effectiveness, sharing knowledge and experience, communication with policymakers, applying for fund. The network, we suggested a number of working groups for the network, the ethics and regulation, of course, the education and training, social media working group, and the quality management working group. The quality management working group, which I have the honor to be the chair of it. We are dealing with the quality management of biobanking and the quality of samples. So we are applying for the accreditation. We are 2 biobanks in the meantime. We are applying for the accreditation. Hope MASRI be the first one to be accredited in 1 or 2 months, and then followed by the TBRI Biobank, and of course the Children Cancer Hospital Biobank is going on the road also. We have another working group, which is the ethics. And by the year 2020, by the introduction of new biobanks to the network, we realized that we have to harmonize our work. So one of the first released work was the unified consent form. We collected all the consent forms that we were working with from all the biobanks, and we have several months for the discussions, and we have, of course, number of scientists that are dealing with the ethics, professors of ethics, and of course we have one of them, which is the head of the ethical council in the Ministry of Health, was helping us to make the consent form unified and work all over Egypt by this form. For the international collaboration, we are seeking for advancement of ethical standards in medical and biobank practices. For this, number of the biobanks, there was a call released by the Arab League in August 2023. A number of the Egyptian biobankers figured out why not to apply for the Arab Biobank network. And so I have the honor to be the PI of this project and the head of this network. By communicating my friends in Qatar, Dr. Nahla and Dr. Maher in Jordan, we have applied for the project, and we finally win the project 2 months ago. We are working on this because we have common policies, we have shared language, shared culture, and the common LCI issues, and it is easy to transfer the experience between us. This is the map where it was found in the project. We have Egypt, Qatar, and Jordan by the red flags, and the others are on the road to be members in the Arab Biobank network. Now we are in the way of constructing the board and the working group for this network. We are going to build an interdisciplinary network dedicated to developing human resources and intellectual capacity in biobanking in the Arab countries, coordinate the development of skills needed for the innovation in biobanking, connect them to network, either nationally or internationally, of course, to be members at a network, not only as a biobanks or individually, to be in the ISPR, BMRI, the PCNet, and the SBB. Promote global collaboration, enhancing medical research and precision medicine, understanding Arab genetic diversity. Of course, as I said before, that we have a number of genome projects in the Arab world, and there is coming up a project for the microarray comparison analysis between the human Egyptian genome and the Qatarian genome. Tailored healthcare policies and intervention, ethical consideration and data governance, and of course collaboration and resource sharing. In the field, as the field of biobanking continues to evolve, it was essential for Egypt to remain committed to upholding ethical standards and engaging with its community to ensure the responsible and beneficial use of biobanking resources for the betterment of healthcare and scientific knowledge. I missed here that we had constructed a master degree and a professional master degree in biobanking to be the first, not only in Egypt, but also in Africa and the Middle East for biobanking 2 years ago in the Alexandria University. Through adherence to ethical principle, Egypt has positioned itself as a key player in the global biobanking community. Of course, this is the team of the Faculty of Medicine Ain Shams Research Institute, headed by Professor Dr. Hisham Al-Ghazali. He was a marvelous leader for us from the time he when he entered the MASRI Research Center and being the head for almost 7 to 8 years. He took the role for the renovation of the whole center. And I guess Elodie had visited us in the opening 2020. We have almost now not only a biobank, we have the first accredited genomic facility, not only in Egypt, but in Africa, and in the real PCR. And by the end of the month, we'll be accredited also in the next generation sequencing. We have a proteomic lab coming on, and we have, of course, a regenerative medicine cell culture unit, which also has a number of publications very well. All of these are all of the team. Of course, we have one of the first accredited centers of the CRCs in Egypt. It has a number of clinical trials, either nationally or internationally. And of course, this is the MASRI Biobank team. I have here Dr. Sausan and Dr. Marwa, my deputies, and the nurse coordinator and the quality team. Thank you.